See, there we go. We've got audio on that, but the camera turned off, and now we've got a 1 minute clip that I'm not going to know what to do with. So here we are again. Holy fuck. So just in case if I don't end up using that clip, this is Canadian Talk episode 35. We're on a new camera. So we're checking it out, and it may fuck up. So what's cool though is now I can have my device, some more devices with me. So I can look shit up better if I need to without someone else here. So what I was saying before the shit turned off. Oh, oppa. Here we go. Is that this is a podcast for Canada. It's so, it's in the name, right? I chose that consciously. I'm not, what is it? So I guess I'm patriotic, right? I'm not a nationalist. That just because this podcast has if a real smart person might look at it and analyze it and be like, oh, that's what that would mean. It's not. It's just a title, folks. But I do love Canada. So, yeah, we got a nice fire going here. I started it just before the camera was going because I was waiting for the new camera to update. And then, yeah, what's annoying is when it stopped itself, it was telling me, hey, we updated. Like, I don't need that push alert. Don't tell me that you just updated when I know you just updated. Like, come on. So, yeah. Can you tell that summer is passing? It's going away. We're at mid-September. Oh, yeah. But I'm talking still about what this podcast is. This is episode 35. We are fresh. We are new. The gist is I have only ever even, people do other stuff usually when they do this. That's how you get more of an audience. Like, you should go on other people's shows, this and that. It just hasn't happened yet. Does it mean I'm inexperienced? Yes. Does it mean that's that. But guess what? If you're here now, you're on the bedrock of what this is. Even though we've been going for a year, we've got a year's worth of episodes. That doesn't matter. The rate at which you grow doesn't matter. What matters is who is watching. So, if you are here and you're wondering what you're getting, wondering what you're here for, I'm going to try and do this at the beginning of every episode. Like, their structure, that's the thing about podcasts, right? This is how they work if nobody knows, because not everybody has watched 1,000 episodes of a podcast in a row or something. It seems like there's no structure, but there is a structure. The thing is the structure takes it takes years to develop. The structure is that's what it is. I kind of do it. But anyway, the point is that something I'm going to start to do at the beginning is just kind of, because it'll largely be new people coming to listen. I want to just, each time I start, just talk about the philosophy of what's going on here and all that kind of shit. So, because I imagine most people are curious, because most people are looking for targeted shit. Like, I don't know who's going to Google and just typing in Canada, or Canadians talking. Like, if you Google that, this does come up. And, that happens. But it's like, most people are looking for specific stuff. They'll look up, fucking, whatever YouTube personality they like, and then podcast after that name. That's what people are doing. They're looking for targeted podcasts. That's, and I get it. The internet is a vast place. You've got to parse out your info somehow. Hey, we're looking good. We're 4 minutes in, and this camera is holding strong. So, but we'll see what happens at 10 minutes. So, yeah, I'm going to be disappointed if the camera shits out on me, because I'm kind of liking how this is going. I could also just do a little short, stubby episode, and then then it can see the light of day, but also, who cares? So, yeah. Okay. Okay. The longer I take to pick a topic, people, the better it's going to be. So just bear with me when I do this. I promise you. I mean, although, like, it is slow burn. Like, I mean, I'm sorry for that. And I'm hoping that I can get faster. But also, I don't know. Because when it's improv, it's improv. So, that's the way that is. You know, okay, what have I've been talking a lot about? I've got a list of stuff here anyway, but I've been talking a lot about privilege lately. I've been talking a lot about media and what's happening to it right now. Because there's a lot happening to it. So, you kind of gotta parse that out for yourself and figure out what you're going to do about that. I decided quite a while ago to jump over to the individualized style of media where you listen to just one person on a podcast like what this is, but it's existed for a while. And that's why I don't think a specific subject matter has to be there, because people watch the news for typically 1 to 3 hours. So that's how long a news show should be. So, yeah. I mean, and yeah, like, so how can, I'm not saying the news is untrustworthy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's so fake that it really, I don't know though. It's like, do you want to have that generalized knowledge where they're just conveying it to you, or do you want to identify with a person? Is this a form of manipulation? Like in where a person even that's 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 conveying the information for you is there. I mean, like, what are we just going to start putting text on a screen and people will just read it? Like, that's not going to happen. So there'll have to be a person there, and you'd want to identify with them personally. So I think that's what I see in this, and it's like, it's because it's so freaky that the politicians tell kind of that they're all involved with what goes on the news, and it's just kind of weird that that's how that works. I'm fine with it because I don't, you want to control what gets to the masses and stuff. I guess, yeah, so technically this type of media is like it's like you're the outlaws of information, really, but it's not like we're the black web or something. But yeah, really windy day today. Winter's coming. I think the lighting is going to be better in here. Like, I'm pretty happy with this. Although it kind of comes at a downward angle now, which is a bit weird, but whatever. So yeah, that's my studio. Fuck, I've been thinking like what it would take to get more people to watch. Like, sometimes I feel like if the studio would just collapse, then I might actually get a viral video or something like that. I just like, that's what it takes these days, because there's just tens of thousands of youth everywhere making internet videos that are like trying to go viral. Oh, I want to do that. I'm going to do that stupid crate challenge thing. I'm slowly collecting crates, even though the trend is pretty much past, but I still am going to do it. It's taking time for me to collect the crates though. I have like 10 and I think you need about 40, 35, something like that. Earache. So, I mean, let's hop to the list now. That's what this is. This is a podcast with no particular structure other than talking about what's going to be going on. And it'll be funny. So if you're trying to be funny with your friends, here you go. Just that's what I do. Like, other people read books, right? And that kind of stuff. I've read books, but I like more to watch people convey the information, because then it shows you how to deliver it in a way. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm staring up at the camera because I'm looking at the fucking framing and stuff. That I got to get a better curtain, that's for sure. You can kind of see that bag way too good now. Oh man. Okay, so like for real, because I skipped a week there. I forget what I was doing. I was on a fishing trip or something. Shout out to a fishing buddy. Yeah, there's some stuff going on that's worth talking about. Like, so China is a very interesting place. I heard that they are outlawing effeminate men being on the news, which is kind of crazy. It's not crazy. Like, I mean, if they're having too much trans behavior, like if they're worried that they're not going to be able to tell the genders, and everybody's just going to be one gender all of a sudden. I mean, like, I get it, but they made a law that says that, and they're communist, I think there, so that means their law is like you take it seriously. Everybody takes it super seriously. Not that laws shouldn't be taken seriously, but maybe not so seriously in a democracy. Yeah, I mean, I guess they must be having a trans outbreak. Who knows? Drinking Bush today. The Bush is it has to be, honestly, 35 episodes in, if you want to call this a beer review show or whatever, which it is kind of, because I have 2 beers for every show that I never finish. So far, what's on top, even though I love Great Western, it's got a lot of flavor. If you like a real flavorful beer, but if you have more than 5, it's too much. Not that I have more than 5 that often. But Bush, I have found, even though I wish it was, I was toting a Canadian beer company, because I don't think this is Canadian. It says brewed in Canada, but that's probably just because they bought a Canadian brewery. Bush is the best. It is the best. And Bush Light is absolutely fucking delicious. So, but that's, I mean, there's guys that have a lot more experience than I do. So, you know, take it as you will. But yeah, China outlaws effeminate men, and I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I get it, but I don't really get it. Like, what is the purpose of that? I mean, are you really having an outbreak of trans people, or what? Like, I get it, because, I mean, they don't have enough women over there, so right? Because they don't let they don't let you have one baby or whatever. So I get that. I just think Canada has it right, people. Everybody should just do it like how we do it. Oh yeah, what do we got here? Oh, and then so this I have not talked about on a podcast yet. So Jeopardy is having a fiasco right now. Like the show, I like it a lot. Actually, I'm going to top up some wood just real quick. Oh, the wind is dying down. Maybe I'll be able to leave the door open here without getting smoke piled. Yeah, Jeopardy, so this is the deal. If you haven't heard about it at all yet, which most people have. So the executive producer of the show, so when Ken Jennings left and died or wherever the fuck or not Ken Jennings, Alex Trebek, when he left, the executive producer gave, which as far as I know, he's kind of like the most powerful guy at the show. He gave himself the new job for the host. After they had certain people sit in, I think Ken Jennings, which he was the most winningest player ever, he should be the host. Let's get real here. That's probably why people are digging up dirt on Mike Richards anyway. Mike Richards is that executive producer. Because everybody wants Ken Jennings to be the host, which is fine. But why did he give himself that position? That's pretty transparent. Like, that's stupid. Yeah, people ended up trying to get him out of that position because ultimately it's a bit of an abuse of power, really. Like, you're already a millionaire executive producer type stuff. Pick a better person, man. And it turns out, though, what they found on him was not that much. So I'm like on his side in a way that if he wouldn't have stepped down, I would have been like, okay, kind of a boss move. But he shouldn't. He stepped back because I guess he just couldn't handle the scrutiny. That actually must be what it is. I think that's what it is ultimately, is that he couldn't handle the scrutiny. Because he stepped down just because of some sexual assault allegations from like 10 years ago. It's just like sexual assault. I mean, and that's bad. That's bad. But I just like 10 years ago, and why not just defend yourself? Like have some, because you're past that in your life. Just maybe put up some defenses and then move on. Keep hosting. Although maybe it hurt the ratings. Like there must be people who are watching certain numbers that also had something to do with it. I'm sure. Yeah, probably those two things. Oh man, I already talked about prank calls. How I want to start doing some of that. Super funny. I should do one live on the air right now. No, I shouldn't. Because then I'm gonna have to ask them if it's okay if I use it, and then I'll have to explain what this is and everything. That's embarrassing. See, I won't even. I'm not even. I don't even want to make a phone call, people. But I expect somebody to listen to this. Oh, it's why I make videos. Okay, I don't like it. I don't like. I'd rather. I'm a hermit. I'm a hermit crab. So, yeah, Jeopardy fiasco. I saw it because I saw this TikTok. I want to give her credit. She may not be the original. She didn't. She's not the original. Okay, Adam Sandler is one of the first guys who ever took prank calls really famous in like a movie that I know of. But there's probably somebody before him, fucking Burt Reynolds, or maybe fucking Norm Macdonald. Right? He just died, which is super sad. Great slapstick comic. If you hadn't heard about that out there, people, but most people have. He was a pretty beloved character across the world. Yeah, fried babies for dinner is the TikTok account that I saw with the prank calls. So yeah, I'm gonna whip through this list, and then I want to get back to improv, talking about some societal stuff here, and see if we can find some laughs or see if we can find some answers. Because I enjoy that more than these lists really. But I sometimes I make these lists because I feel like it's necessary kind of to hit the main nodes of what's going on. Yeah. Oh, another thing I saw. This is kind of podcast news awareness. If you've ever seen, if you know who Brendan Schaub is, he's an MMA fighter. He has a podcast called Fighter and the Kid. Great stuff. There is a video, so just go look this up. I mean, I'm not gonna edit this shit in, okay? We don't have the time for that. To put up a little window and stuff like that. I don't know what happens with monetization. There's a YouTube video out there of Brendan Schaub running to a car that was crashed and saving some kids. Pulling some kids out of a car that they couldn't get out of, which is pretty cool. So I wanted to shout that out for a podcast guy that I watch anyway. Take a lot of his candor, that type of stuff, and then seeing videos like that is pretty amazing. But he gets plenty of positive reinforcement. So what am I doing? I'm just stroking the lion here. Man, this is a funny one. So like, I've been thinking a lot about like the Bermuda Triangle, and that kind of shit, like how weird the world is, like, because Canada is so much bigger than people realize. I hate people that talk about overpopulation stuff. It's just not real. The world is not even close to overpopulated. We start to run out of energy, big deal. Let's get some more fucking nuclear power plants on all these lakes that we have. Old style, baby. Oh, you're worried about a spill? It's a fucking lake. Line it with plastic before you build the fucking nuclear power plant, and then it gets contained in the lake. Or don't line it with plastic and then just pay off all the fucking farmers around there and you're done anyway. And that won't happen. Just build the newer, better nuclear reactors, which is my point. They're called integral fast reactors, and they don't need water to cool them. You can use salt. You run crystallized salt over the reacting chemical that you're using for your nuclear plant to create that, to turn those turbines, and it cools it, and you never have to worry about a spill because the cooling agent is solid. And it takes a lot less, and you can reuse it. Well, you can reuse the water too, but because water is what's used in the standard uranium plants, which is the older nuclear power plants. And yeah, borium, the stuff that's used in the newer ones, it's more ubiquitous. It's more common than uranium. So I can't believe we used uranium in the first place. Just probably because it's easier to run that water. But we've got the technology now to cycle that NaCl to cool that borium borium. I think I'm getting the chemical wrong. It's something like that. It starts with a B, I think. And there you go. Energy crisis averted. There's lots of fucking space. I used to be one of those nihilist overpopulation types as well, and I let it go once I started learning more about stuff. Just stuff. Everything, you know? I mean, come on. I'll say that a lot too, by the way. I'll just say that I learn stuff. And what I mean by that is reading books and listening to audiobooks and podcasts. But I can't reference everything super specifically. I'm not fucking Good Will Hunting. Also, his name is Will Hunting. So I hate when people actually, I didn't mean that. I meant to do it because I know people recognize the reference more if you say Good Will Hunting. But his fucking name in the show is Will Hunting. So if you're going to reference something he says, say Will Hunting. Don't say Goodwill Hunting, because that's the fucking title of the movie. Man, pretty salty today. Sorry, I guess that's what I'm doing today. It's because Norm Macdonald died. It's a little bit heartbreaking. Oh, we got a few more things, too, here that I wanted to talk about. Oh, I was just segueing into the Eels bit. That, like... But I also wanted to talk about the Team USA paintball girl. Like, Eels, did you know this? I'm going to also cycle in some animal facts every now and then, because I like all that stuff. I've watched all the Animal Planets, all the shit, many, many times. But there's still stuff that you always learn, like little facts, right? Eels. So honestly, they look like a sperm. That's something that I had always thought about eels. Like, they just look like a sperm, but they're a real animal. They're like a full-size animal sperm that just... And you want to know what, for real? Did you know that eels have never been caught on video reproducing? It's never been videotaped, so we don't know how eels reproduce. Like, one eel, a smaller eel might just go into the mouth of another bigger eel, and then that might be how the reproduction happens. And then we don't know how more eels get created, because they are literally living sperms. But we know that they go to the Bermuda Triangle to reproduce, all of them. What the fuck? So yeah, I learned that, and I was like, that's a real mystery. That like literally sperms exist as animals, and that's an eel. And there's electric eels. That's so crazy. Or all eels aren't electric, are they? No. Geez, I just sounded like a seal there. Talking about eels, I just sounded like a seal. That was what I sounded like. Oh my god, this is cringe. By the way, I've been thinking of some names for... I'm going to set up a little studio where I might run bits to nobody on camera, but make it look like I'm in front of an audience and add in a laugh track. I'm tossing around names for the name of my comedy studio, of my comedy club. It's either going to be the Prattle Saddle, or, oh my god, did I just forget the other one? It had to do with eels, and then I lost it. The Prattle Saddle is one, and the other one is... Damn it. What is it? I talked about electric eels, and then I thought of it. Come on. I should remember it. I think I wrote it down, but... who the fuck can find anything on all these lists? So it's not the end of the world. But now I want to think of it. What would be a good name for a comedy club? Prattle Saddle is a good one, but what is the other one? God damn it. Motherfucking fucker. Hold on, I'll see if I got it written somewhere here. Oh, yeah. Cringe Factory. Cringe Factory. That's the other, because I'm such a cringe-worthy, if you're actually watching this and you, know me, you might be like, oh, God. But then if more people start to like it, you might be like, okay. But ultimately, I'm cringe, kind of just like fucking whatever, like Aubrey Plaza or something. And I know that that's what it is, but I just can't help it. That's what it is. So, yeah, so what's going on here? Yeah, so eels. That was what I was talking about. Where the fuck do they come from? Like, where do they come from? And then, that doesn't make sense. Sometimes I put stuff on my list that just doesn't make sense. It just says, been watching a lot of people with tourists videos on TikTok. Been watching a lot of people with tourists videos on TikTok. People with tourists? What the fuck does that even mean? NBC News, pop culture. Yeah, this is the paintball story. I've got a link here in here. But the girl on the USA paintball team, yeah, I'll just pick my nose here right on camera. Don't mind me. And we're at 24 minutes, and the camera's still going strong, so the kid is happy. I hope this is like a decent quality video. It probably is. It's definitely better angle than when it was down there, for sure. But yeah, that's enough about the setup. A woman off of the Team USA paintball team was removed from the team for fat shaming. She's not a comedian, right? Comedians I think are allowed to fat shame. I think we're the only ones. We're allowed to do a lot, but like she's an athlete, so I mean, and also she's on like a combat sport. That's like the pinnacle level of that type of person, you know? They're shooting paintballs at each other. And it's an athlete. Like she's like a warrior. And people are getting mad at her for fat shaming. And so what she said specifically, if you haven't heard about this, so this is the girl from the USA paintball team. If you haven't heard about this at all, she made a video on Twitter. She published a video on Twitter, so it's a video of her talking, right? So it's not like it's just words that were typed out. So you got her a little bit more on that. But she published a video of her talking and saying there was a kid who was really overweight and he was having a tough time getting over COVID. He didn't end up dying. He was fine. But she was like, he doesn't need to find a vaccine. He needs to find a treadmill. That was what she said. And it was like, oh shit. See, like, man, you can't kick her off the team for that. I get it. I get that is not the coolest thing to say. But that's... man, I'm doing that thing with my voice again where I'm getting all high-pitched and... Okay, I want to keep a good baritone to my voice. Sometimes when I get upset about the stuff and I'm trying to be serious but also not serious because like I don't want it to come off too harsh because I don't think it's okay. Fat shaming is funny, though. I like it. But, you know, not when somebody's life's on the line or when it's a kid. But still, to kick her off of a national team because of that is so fucked up. That's all I'll say about it. So, I hope you agree with me. If you don't, that's okay too. Because ultimately, like, it's a fucking paintball team. So, who gives a shit? Okay, so that's the majority of my list. There's other stuff, but not anything that's good. I shouldn't have maybe said I had a lot because that was only like 5 things. We got a low bar here. I just kind of like everything that I've got on that list a lot. Like everything that gets onto the podcast list is stuff that I really think is interesting and funny and unique and like a failure of our society usually, like with how things are being dealt with. So, because all you can do is laugh about that stuff, right? Because it's just, that's all you can do. It's going to keep happening. So, all you can do is roll with the status quo. You know? Yeah, my vocabulary is so shitty. So, actually, I'm having a debate here. I'm having a few debates with certain people. You wouldn't be able to zoom in and see any of this. I don't think from right there you could zoom in and see any of this. So, this is going to be my spot. I'm having debates with some people. I'm going to use them as fuel for what I'm going to talk about here for the next little bit. Because I want to talk about privilege. I want to talk about race. I want to talk about what's going on right now in North American politics. We're about to have an election in Canada here, which is fine. Super, nobody cares. But I think Justin Trudeau's probably done. I mean, he got his weed stuff done. That's what we wanted him for. So now it's time to move on. You know what? Like, and that's part of what has started to help me understand politics more thoroughly as well, which I hope I can help somebody who's here right now at 30 Minutes in Canadian Talk Podcast. We got no sponsors or anything, people. I don't want to do that right now. But I guess I'm my own sponsor. If you want some signs that say "Have a nice poop" on them, for your bathroom that are made of wood or other funny shit like that, I will have pictures of them on the website, stephanjackson.ca. So I guess I'll plug my own website. So there you go. And there's merch like hats and t-shirts if you're a big supporter, which I have only sold a couple, but that is okay. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention from before is that we've been going a year and the podcast has tripled in size. So there is no lack of progress here. If we triple in size every year, in 7 years, this is going to be huge. You know, so I am not concerned with this first year at all. It's been amazing. Yeah. And I have so much fun doing this. So, yeah. So coronavirus is coming again because winter is coming. So everybody's trying to figure out what's going on there. And I mean, it's just a mess of a lot of things. Like, God, I'm getting a bit of an earache. I don't know if there's debris in here that's like blowing into my ears or what. It's pretty sawdusty in here because I've been building shit. There's mistakes on both sides, all right? You can't undervalue human life because I'm not here to do that. You can't devalue human life. It's super important that we save everybody that we can. But I'm a math guy, and so I look at the numbers for everything and all that stuff. And I feel that if they fucking budge a little bit, if we have to wear masks everywhere again and all that kind of stuff, that means I have the right to believe that this is going to continue and get worse. So that means I have the right to defer my taxes, defer my mortgage. If they're going to continue to debilitate the economy with this medical stuff that they can put rules on us for, like, oh, you can't go to these restaurants, you can't work here or work there because you didn't get your shot. If they're going to bring the enforcement to that level on a virus that has such a low death rate, that is a problem. That means that I have the right then to fully lock down and turtle up on what I have. Not pay mortgage, taxes, property taxes, income taxes, anything. So it's like, by the way, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm doing that. But I'm saying that if this winter, if they go into full lockdown mode again, I have no reason to believe that it's not going to happen for the next 3 years also. Because the math is telling them not to lock down. Just because the medical establishment is telling them to, that doesn't mean anything. They profit from this. You have to listen to the math, people. They're telling you that the virus doesn't kill that many people. We have to go back to normal. We don't wear masks in Western society. It messes with communication. By the way, this is coming off as an anti-mask, anti-everything rant. It's not. I'm just talking about stuff that should be considered on the other side. I'm not on that side. I'm in the middle. I don't care. I see when there's problems, and I'll try to help sort them out, but I'm not actually taking sides ever. I'm just living. I've got my zebra stripes on. I am in the herd. I don't want anybody coming for me. But I will try to inform. That's how this stuff works. You know, I'm not Alex Jones, though. I'm not going to live and die by the sword, but I will continue to let my mouth move. So, man, that was a great rant. I'm going to put that one on TikTok. By the way, I've been ripping it up on TikTok. Stupidest app ever. But also the way that it streamlines the sharing of video and commercializes music for consumer use has created a whole new genre of art, really. And if you don't see that, you're ignorant. So there you go. So listen to that, people. Because they also don't limit what you can put on there. Like, you can put up to a 3-minute video, and that is long enough. Like, I am clipping up my shit and putting it all over there. It's Canadian Talk with Stephan Pod on TikTok. And you could type in my name. Like, everything will make it work. You can fucking Google me, and you'll find all 5 things once you scroll past the black basketball player that has the same name as me. I have a half a mind to call Google. I'm sick of it when I type in my name. And maybe I should identify by my middle name too, Stephan Wade Jackson. Maybe that should be me. Because maybe I should change my website to stephanwadejackson.ca. I mean, I don't know if I'm far enough into the rabbit hole yet because of his name. Or maybe I can just call Google and be like, hey, can you stop asking people to correct it to Stephen for him? Because I exist also. Like, they shouldn't be asking every time somebody searches Stephan with an A, Jackson. It shouldn't be coming up with all his stuff. It can, because he's way more clicked on and all that. But don't ask to correct the spelling. If they spell it the other way, it should come up with my stuff at the very top, because of the spelling. So I have half a mind to call Google about that. Maybe I will. I wonder what they'd do. Who knows? They would probably educate me on some stuff that I sure as hell need to understand. But I was just, I don't like it where if I put my name into the thing, it asks if it wanted to be spelled another way, because it doesn't. This name, Stephan with an A, exists too, people. I talked to another one from Los Angeles who spells his name the same way as me. And he pronounces it the same way as me. So the name exists from north to south. Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah, that sounded great. I am sorry for all the audio listeners out there that I just horked in your ear. I had a frog in my throat. I'm in a dusty woodshop studio in the north of Canada. I'm pretty much 45 degrees latitude. That means I'm halfway up the earth. You know, if you're anywhere near the equator, you better have some fucking sympathy for that. So, how about we get into some real actual talks here? Yeah, privilege. So, but I was talking about coronavirus. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. I mean, if they're about to lock down more, we as every sovereign, every citizen that's a part of this, if you're listening, listen to this. Like, you have the right, if they are showing you that, hey, the government is locking down because of fear of death of people, closing down economies, you're allowed, when they close up, and none of them are at the fucking government buildings, it's closed. If they're doing that, you don't have to pay taxes. That's the way it should work, and it will work. That's what the right is for. It argues for those types of principles because they're just as correct as protecting human lives. Protecting human lives is correct, but also abiding by facts is correct. So that's what that is, people. So you have to fight for yourselves, and it's like, if they're going to get crazy and give people the belief that, hey, we could be locking down every year like this, don't ever think about working in the winter again if you live in the northern hemisphere. If you live in cold climates, don't ever think you're going to work in the winter again. You can't take the winter work season away from an entire economy. You can't do it, and you can't force them to wear masks. You're adding overhead expenses to companies that can't afford it. And not to mention masks are littering everywhere. Like, that's what you have to do. You have to stick up for yourself, because if the government isn't going to function, you don't have to pay them. That's the gist. So, yeah, that's the gist on the coronavirus coming up here. If it gets crazy, don't pay your fucking mortgage. And then that'll fix things, because the mortgage is the fundamental engine, the mitochondria of the economy. The mortgages have to get paid, no matter whatever has to happen. Because let's be honest. Let's talk about this for a second. The rental world is out of control. It really is an example of what the free market is, because like it's just people out there owning assets and just literally lording them over other people. That's what property ownership is. It's pretty gross. So what was my point though? Is that, yeah, look at the extents that we go to get that mitochondria fed, that mortgage backed security. That's the main engine of the economy, right? Oh, the other thing is I keep forgetting, and I probably forgot to text him today. I could text him right now and he'd get here by the end of this. Then I could talk to him. I was going to bring on Nigel Cunningham again. That's his alias. He is a 12-year Army veteran, and I wanted to get his comments on what's going on with the Afghanistan stuff and what he thinks should happen. Because I'm so curious about what a guy like that would think about what we should do next with that. Because we took troops outright. I understand that we should have left them in. Like, did you know that there was only 2,500 troops left there, and they were keeping the peace for an entire country? Okay, I get that we shouldn't be having to pay them, because what does it cost to pay 25? Like that is a lot. 2,500 is a lot for a small little Afghanistan country. If you really think about it, I guess. Like 2,500 times 100,000 per soldier. That's 2.5 million. Am I doing that right? No, I think that might be 25 million, something like that. Count the zeros, 8 zeros, and then a 25. That is a lot. So I see why maybe they'd want to get those final 2,500 out of there, but it went awry. It destabilized. So but this is the thing too. It comes down to fundamental principles as well. So should we be helping them at that level? And because their religion is what the problem is. Hey, like, we all realize that, right? We go by Christianity. It's all crazy over here. There's the Old Testament, which we've mostly reformed to the New Testament, whatever. They don't really have a New Testament for the Quran. It's fucking wild. So, like, that's what's happening there. The Taliban is technically their right-wing government. We have conservatives and liberals, okay? These are people that believe in more so Christianity and less so Christianity, basically, okay? It's the same thing there. And the Taliban is their right-wing government. So what can we do? And I think I talked about this a little bit on the last podcast, so I won't go into it too much. But because I want to get his representation of it. But what do we do? Do we have to start? Because we're not going to be able to take their religion away from them. It's just that's not how fucking people work. So what can we do when their religion is what's fundamentally broken at the core with how they treat women and stuff? There's nothing that we can do. If their right-wing government does that, we have to let them do it. That's their culture. So that's where I'm at with that. And I think that's where anybody should be at, because what I want to get from Nigel is fucking alias. What I want to get from this guy, and maybe he won't go by an alias eventually. You know what? And then I can laugh at him for being such a pussy. Because a lot of people, I mean, I get the fear of public scrutiny. I really do get that. It's why I have such sympathy for a lot of public figures now. But I want to get his take on it, on whether he thinks 2,500 troops should be sent back in there to tell them that, hey, your right-wing culture goes too far. That's what we'd be doing. We'd be telling them, hey, your religion is not right. So, yeah. I don't know about that. So, and then the other thing going on, so that's that, and then also there's all kinds of instability in Western politics and culture right now too. A lot of division between blacks and whites, like more than ever before. And it always comes down to privilege. It comes down to understanding of systematic racism, if you will, whatever that is to you, or whatever it is to the society that's using that definition, right? Because it's there, and everybody's arguing about it, and I it's tough to form an opinion on it, because we're all being told that we're privileged. But since when? Last time I checked, everybody here up in Canada, we chose the hardest environment to live in. We basically live in Siberia. Like, how can you now tell me that I've had privilege? Like, I know, again, this is coming off as nationalistic, maybe even white nationalistic as I rant here. Forgive me, I'm not doing that. I'm just talking about it from each perspective, the white and then the black, and then it'll come together later. Okay, just to put some context on this, just so nobody takes this crazy. Sorry, by the way, it's not very funny when you have to be a defense lawyer about your own comedy, but it is what you have to do. So, just that's what it is. So, so it's tough when somebody has to hear somebody say, oh, you have advantages over me. So this is the gist of what I was talking about with this one guy from university that we debate this macro stuff a lot. Man, I'm hungry, so I'm gonna have to. I wanted this to go longer, but I'm gonna have to cut it at an hour for sure because I gotta go eat. But so privilege, right? Okay, I want to put together an analogy, and this is just something I just jammered up. So don't think this is nothing in stone. But just if you have a curiosity about it, fucking put it in the comments on YouTube. I don't know. And subscribe on YouTube, by the way. I'm supposed to be saying that at the beginning of every episode, which I never fucking do. If you listen to this, if you clicked around and you caught this, please subscribe to the YouTube, because there is 24 subscribers. At the moment of me saying this, there's 24 subscribers. And I would like that to be maybe 1,000 or a million, maybe more. But so please subscribe, because then you can get, but follow, or if you just follow me on social media too, you're going to get, I post these everywhere, but I would like it if you'd subscribe to the YouTube, because then it makes it better, I guess. You get a full push notification. It's the best type of notification that you're going to get on your smartphone. So, and yeah, and it gives me more power. It ultimately pays me money. If I don't make any money, but if I ever did, that YouTube is the source of where that would primarily be from. With this. So yeah. But it's hard for any race to hear that, oh, you have it better off. Because, so here's the analogy that I was going to go into. I mean, okay. God. So we're going to try to compare things, right? Because this is what's happening. People in North America, and it's diverse. Certain people are upset. They think the society is racist in North America. Certain people aren't upset. They say, hey, this is our society. Right? And that's primarily, okay, so I'm going to be honest about all this stuff. That's primarily white people and that type of a culture. Or there's lots, just people that have been in America for 2 or 3 generations and they want it to be the way that it's been. Conservative types, that's what I'm defining conservative, by the way. Or in America, they call it Republican. But so there's those people saying that. They're saying this is the way we do it. And so if you were going to compare apples to apples here, then let's say you go over, we're going to use Africa for an example. It's a primarily African-American place. African-American. So Africa is a primarily Africa place. There's black people there. That is their color. So they're not African-American. They're African-African. So, what would happen? So I like to compare apples to apples whenever it comes to this, and it always ends up winning me the debates. Is what would happen if there was a WLM movement in Africa? How would that go? I would like to see it, because the people in South Africa are pretty. I think they're pretty disenfranchised, just like black people here. They're the minority. Black people in North America, rather, minorities, right? We're comparing cultures to cultures here on different continents that are relatively the same fucking size. So everything is the same. But we're way outpopulated over there, I think. More so than, I don't know. I don't know the exact numbers on it. Let's just call it 50-50. And that's how that is. So, the BLM movement, it's still functioning here. It's been squashed a lot. They did a lot of damage, this and that. People are identifying it as racist. But ultimately, it's existing. I'm seriously saying, what would happen if there was a WLM movement in Africa? Nothing would happen. It would be less. If there was riots in God damn it, I haven't been to Africa, okay? So let's be honest here. That kind of stuff. I'm 29. I haven't been to Africa, any of that kind of shit. So I'm really coming from a place of ultimate ignorance. But their culture is different than ours. But let's say a bunch of white people were going to go in and start destroying cities. And their buildings are made of, different materials and whatever. But just destroy that shit. Kind of like what was happening here with just mostly breaking windows. Not really destroying buildings. But there was some fires. What would happen if that happened over there? I think it would get shut down pretty quickly. I think there might be more deaths. And I know that I'm guessing here. But let's say, okay, so maybe I'm biased. So I'm going to identify myself as biased retrospectively right now. If we assume I'm biased, let's then bring that back a bit and let's call it 50-50. Let's assume they handle it the exact same way that we would, where they have police in gear stopping it. Because countries are allowed to have primary cultures. That's how nations work. This is good. I mean, this is ultimately the shit I should be talking about as a national podcast, Canadian Talk. So I hope that this is education for nationalism, really, in a way, in a healthy way. Oh, there goes my poker. Ow, that hurt. It fell on my ankle as I caught it. Nothing is level in here, people. This is just an absolute joke in here. So, what are we going to do? We're going to call it at an hour right now. We talked a little bit about race. I think I put a bow on it. Got to compare apples to apples. I'm going to get more into it next episode 36. We can talk more. Maybe I'll bring on Nigel, but we'll talk more about race and that type of stuff and privilege and how to identify what privilege really is. Because we all have our own fucking privileges. Oh, it's hard to just say that everything isn't equal because it really is. To me. And I hope that I can just talk until maybe the more you talk it out, the better your opinion will be. The more honed, the more sharpened. as long as you don't keep it too narrow. So anyway, I'm going to end it on that. I might turn the camera. I'm going to do some chin-ups, and we're going to call it a fucking day. I am going to cut out that first 1 minute from the other video because this video ended up being crisp and clean. Sorry, you won't be able to see the 2-minute video I made before the update came up that I was annoyed about, where I was talking some other funny shit that you're just going to miss. It's 2 minutes. Whatever, maybe I'll put that clip on TikTok. So that's Canadian Talk out, episode 35. I'm going to do some chin-ups here, turn the camera. I'm going to do 10. I'm going to actually see how many. I got my shoulder. My shoulder fucking hurts from my vaccine. And I got it like 3 months ago. Or 3 weeks ago, rather. My second one. I hope if they make me take a third one, fuck that. Like, enough already. Like, the pharmaceutical companies are rich enough already. That's why people are getting mad. Because it's only killing old people and fat people. And by the way, okay, again, don't take this clip out of context. It's like, that's primarily what it's killing. And so why are we changing all the world? Just vaccinate those people. That's it. Done. Don't mandate it for everybody. And you can still get it. Ugh. Okay, we're going to call it. That's Canadian Talk, episode 35. More to come on race and privilege and what's happening with Corona, and more laughs to come on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in, anybody who's out there. And I've got pre-recorded shit to plug my websites and shit, so I won't say anything about that. Just subscribe to the YouTube for God fucking sakes. All right. See you later. Canadian Talk out.
Thanks for listening, and any questions or concerns for the show, as well as voice recordings and voice messages that you'd like us to listen to, or advertisement inquiries, please forward those along to CanadianTalkWithStephan@gmail.com. Thanks. We also have a website, stephanjackson.ca, where you can find a back catalog of all our episodes, and we're also on YouTube, where you can find the video versions.
Canadian Talk.